Let's just dive right into it. Have you ever wondered how a highly structured, almost, clinical fake dating arrangement actually turns into genuine love? Well, in this explainer, we are breaking down the entire narrative arc of Annabel Monaghan's Dolly All the Time to figure out exactly how that happens. We're going to trace the chronological journey of how two vastly different people learn to find balance. And hey, this isn't just about sparks flying. It is a real look at the mechanics of a truly excellent modern romance, and maybe most importantly, how we learn to share the heavy burdens we carry. Now, if you just judge this book by its bright, summery, salt-laced vibe, you might expect a light, breezy read. But beneath all that is an incredibly smart, deeply satisfying romance. What makes this story really stand out in the genre is that we are following actual, normal, middle-aged characters. Our protagonist, Dolly, she is a single mom with real heavy responsibilities. The story takes these familiar romantic tropes and uses them to deliver a really nourishing look at finding yourself, especially when you're used to being literally everything to everyone else.
And Monaghan actually establishes Dolly's core identity right from page 1, with a simple dedication to, quote, the caretakers. If you've ever been the eldest daughter, or, the one constantly holding your family together, you know this exact feeling. Dolly is the ultimate caretaker. She is holding the weight of the world on her shoulders. She manages a fish house, she raises her son, Gus, and she constantly puts her family first. This core identity, it's absolutely crucial. It's the exact lens through which we have to view her entire romantic arc.
All right, let's look at the central clash of the novel. These two couldn't be orbiting in more different universes if they tried. On one side, we have Dolly. She is grounded in this chaotic reality, mopping wooden floors at the fish house, making sure her son is okay, rushing back to Rhode Island the split second there's a family emergency. Then, on the other side, you've got Stewart Whitfield. He is just suffocating under billion-dollar corporate expectations, this intense family legacy, yachts, and the relentless daily pressure of Whitfield Industries.
The pacing of their meeting is literally a masterclass in collision. Just look at the timeline. On day 1, Dolly frantically returns to Rhode Island to manage a crisis after hearing about a fire at her family's home. Fast forward to day 2, and she's back working at the fish house, literally scooping shrimp onto a scale. And day 3, a total chance roadside encounter. Stewart has a flat tire. Dolly, still in her work t-shirt, is out delivering his shrimp. She steps in, gives him some practical advice on the spare tire, and boom, their worlds officially collide.
And that collision quickly leads to this fantastic exchange. Stewart makes this very sudden, highly unusual proposition for a fake relationship, claiming it's for, quote-unquote, career reasons. Dolly's reaction is just priceless. She laughs right in his face. She reminds him they aren't even a couple to begin with, flat out refusing to be intimidated by his wealth or his status. It perfectly sets the ground rules for the fake dating trope, but it injects it with a heavy dose of Dolly's no-nonsense realism. Now, of course, Dolly doesn't navigate this completely alone. Her best friend Naomi injects a massive burst of humor into the whole setup. Naomi insists that if Dolly is going to fake date a literal billionaire, well, she needs to negotiate. Her demands? $1 jillion, a massive clothing allowance, riding around in limos, eating complicated food, and regular spa days where she can just smell like eucalyptus. It's hilarious, sure, but it also reminds us that Dolly has this fierce support system cheering for her to finally, get something for herself for once. But the real turning point, the moment the dynamic truly shifts, happens at a high-stakes gala. A woman named Jennifer, who runs a cancer center, is having a major wardrobe malfunction with a couture gown. Does Dolly panic? No way. She pulls out a CVS emergency sewing kit. It's this trick she learned from her grandmother, and she just fixes the dress right there in the bathroom. When they walk out, Stewart doesn't just introduce her as some acquaintance, he proudly claims her as his girlfriend. It's the exact moment he realizes her everyday invisible caretaker skills are an absolute superpower in his high-stress world. But, as we all know, a relationship can't survive on fixed dresses alone, right? It requires real vulnerability. In a really quiet, tender moment, Dolly lets Stewart in on her deepest wound. She tells him about her mother leaving for a trip when Dolly was just 12, promising to be back on Monday, but never actually specifying which Monday. So Dolly and her sister Patsy cope using this Happy Monday inside joke. By sharing this, the entire boundary of the fake relationship breaks down. She is trusting him with the real, painful history that made her the caretaker she is today. And Stewart absolutely proves he is worthy of that trust. When Dolly's son Gus has a minor incident at the beach, Stewart drops everything in the middle of a busy workday to just be there. He doesn't just show up, he actually talks to Gus about sailing, making this real, earnest connection.
So later on, when Gus asks if the relationship is still just a pretend thing, Dolly gives him a deeply honest confession. She admits she likes him very much. So yeah, the walls are fully down now. Which brings us to the big question. How on earth do you navigate real feelings when the very foundation of your relationship was just a strategic business deal? The lines have completely blurred. Dolly is a hyper-pragmatic person. She values financial security, her pension, that sort of thing, while Stewart is a guy who initially offered to just pay her for her time. As their emotional intimacy grows, the tension really escalates, mostly because neither of them has revised that original contract to account for, well, genuine love.
To really understand why this is so insanely complicated, we have to flip the script and look at Stewart's burden. While Dolly carries the emotional weight of her family, Stewart carries the crushing, historical weight of Whitfield Industries. He is facing intense family pressure, specifically from his father, Henry. This is a massive family legacy rooted in real estate. And the expectation? It isn't just to succeed. It's to uphold this ruthless standard that leaves absolutely zero room for Stewart's own happiness or peace of mind.
You really see how toxic that environment is during a family dinner. His father makes this harsh, totally dismissive comment about the future of the company, and his brother Grant just laughs it off, actually mocking the idea of Stewart ruining the legacy. Notice the physical imagery here in the text. Stewart's hands are folded so tight, it's like he's trying to crush something inside them. Dolly is sitting there, witnessing firsthand the suffocating environment that forced him into their fake arrangement in the very first place.
Unfortunately, that immense pressure causes Stewart to snap. In a sudden climax, instead of leaning on Dolly, Stewart just retreats. He completely disappears. And to make it infinitely worse, he sends her a check by messenger. I mean, ouch. For a woman whose entire core identity is taking care of people, this is a devastating blow. It makes Dolly feel like the vulnerability, the real connection with her son, the shared secrets, like it all meant absolutely nothing. It instantly reduces their entire relationship back to a cold, transactional arrangement.
But here's the thing, Dolly is not a passive character, and her growth in this moment is spectacular. Instead of retreating, she puts on her boots and her gray wool sweater, which she literally calls her official Dolly Brick costume, and she marches right into the Boston corporate office of Whitfield Industries. It is this brilliant clash of her middle-class reality hitting his corporate world head-on. She pays $18 for an hour of parking without even blinking. She walks right up to the receptionist and demands to see him. She isn't there to beg, she is there to hold him accountable.
And that confrontation, it finally forces Stewart to clean up his own mess. To win her back, he completely restructures his life. He brings in a management consultant, he hands the toxic, high-stress strip mall business over to his brother Grant, and he takes over a much smaller, quieter preservation arm of the company for himself. He finally steps away from that toxic legacy to make room for something real.
All of which leads us to this incredibly beautiful, cozy, full-circle resolution. It's June 1st. Stewart has completely abandoned his father's intimidating corporate office and is now happily working from a small library. More importantly, he's often found just waiting outside Dolly's fish house at 4 o'clock. They celebrate their new reality with a massive order of lobster tails and blueberry peach pie surrounded by her family. The fake business deal is totally gone. A genuine, equal partnership has arrived.
So I want to leave you with this thought. For someone whose entire life is defined by managing crises, fixing the dresses, and holding it all together, the grand romantic gesture isn't a limo, it isn't a yacht. True romance is finding someone who sees the heavy world on your shoulders and instead of adding to it, steps up to share the load. It's a wonderful evolution from a simple fiction trope to a deep, universal truth. So tell me, who is sharing the weight in your life?